Very special guest joining us now from Bismarck, North Dakota. We're bringing in on video chat Rider Hall of Famer in waiting, Weston Dressler joins us this morning from ND. How you doing, Weston?
Good. How are you doing?
100%. Fantastic. Mike Abou-Meshrik and Darren DuPont with us this morning. A lot of questions for you, my friend. And you know my thoughts on you, where you stand in life, not just in Rider history. What's your life been like since news came out Wednesday that you've taken this new job and moved home?
It's been pretty crazy. So I took the job a while back. Obviously, I just started last week on Monday, and that's when they did the press release and all that stuff. So word kind of got out that way. But before that, life was pretty hectic trying to move my family, my wife and our two kids down to Bismarck from Regina, which was some stressful moments, but we made it down here and we're starting to settle in now to our new routine.
What's it feel like for you? Probably Tegan's going through a bigger culture shock than you. She's never lived really anywhere else, has she?
No, she's born and raised in Regina and really been there her whole life outside of the last couple of years while I was in Winnipeg, and she was out there with me for those few seasons. So yeah, this is a little different for her. Obviously, she's been down here quite often visiting and moving back and forth from Regina to Bismarck as far as in the off season and things like that. So she's somewhat familiar with Bismarck and learning a lot more now that we're here.
You always seemed, Weston, I wouldn't say uncomfortable with the adulation, but surprised by everybody, the big deal they made out of you. Are you surprised at the reaction in the last week with your announcement that you've moved home?
Yeah, I'm always surprised. I think, especially for me, obviously making this decision quite a bit of time ago, it's kind of had already sunk in, and you're moving forward and looking towards the future and everything, and you kind of forget that outside of your closest friends and family, not a lot of people really even knew that this was going on in my life. So you kind of forget that sometimes. So yeah, I think it was important that you finally be able to share it with the public and let people know, where I'm at now.
What's up, Weston? I love you. You're the best.
Love you.
It's kind of a loaded question here. What are your workouts like maybe over the past 2 weeks, and what do they look like on the next 2 weeks? And if that phone rang, would someone else have to answer it, or would you pick it up and say yes? You knew it was coming. You knew I was going to ask that.
Workouts? You're talking like physical workouts?
Yeah.
I usually take the stairs instead of the elevator, so that's about the extent of it.
That answer speaks volumes.
No. If you're getting at if there's a possibility that I'd be playing football at some point, the answer is no. I haven't been training and preparing my body for that type of physical activity for quite some time now. So yeah, I wouldn't feel physically comfortable trying to put a helmet and shoulder pads on. I wouldn't feel safe out there at this moment.
All right, and now, if this career truly is over, can you look back and what was the greatest Weston Dressler moment or two that you can remember? The first one that pops into your head.
Oh, well, obviously winning a Grey Cup in 2013 in front of our fans on our home field. That's the number one memory that I'll have as far as playing in the CFL. And outside of that one, as far as on-field memories, I always tell everyone I definitely remember the locker room and the guys and the friendships a lot more than specific plays or even games. So I'll definitely miss the camaraderie and the different jokes and things that come with a professional football locker room. That's for sure.
Yeah. If you were to run one route that was your signature route, what would it be?
I don't know. I like to think I was really good at it a lot. But I always enjoyed the types of routes where you kind of had an option where your quarterback knows you're the primary read and everyone else around you is doing certain things and you can go in or out, and to have that ability to adjust on the fly. Those were my most moments as far as route running, because if you read it right and do it correctly, the defense can't be right.
We had Addison Richards on here the other day, who you spent some time with in Winnipeg, and we were talking about you, and I said, what I remember about Weston's not the games, it's the practices, because every single rep was like the Super Bowl was on the line from the minute you showed up in 2008 to the end. Weston, is that the way you were built? Is that something your dad put in you? Because that's why you're going to the Hall of Fame. It's the effort. That's what I remember in practice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was just always geared towards making the next play. I felt like if you make it in practice, you're going to make it in the game. And if you don't make it in practice, sometimes you're developing bad habits and it trickles into the game. So I gave it everything I had in practice, partly because of my competitive nature, and I wanted to beat our own DBs because you don't get a chance on game day to beat your own teammates. So you just try to let them know that way, because I was always having fun with our defensive guys too. And I think if you talk to some of the DBs that I've played with, they'd probably tell you I annoyed them at times at certain practices. But that for me was the best way to prepare for games, was to practice like it was a game. And, you know, some guys aren't able to put that effort in every day, but some guys are physically gifted enough that they don't have to be successful in the games. And I always felt like I needed to do that if I was going to be prepared and successful on game day.
Not many guys can make looking hard fun and make it look fun, and you definitely did that. But what were your thoughts coming up here in 07? You know, showing up in training camp.
Oh wait.
08, sorry, I'm old. I forget. Feels like we played longer together though. You know, you came up here primarily as a punt returner, I thought, and then everyone kind of getting hurt, and then you were our primary guy at the end of the day. But before we knew who number 7 was, what were your thoughts coming up here?
Honestly, I had no idea what to expect. I knew a little bit about the CFL and the fact that there was football in Canada. That was pretty much what I knew. That was about it. I remember coming to training camp and seeing how big the field was and seeing all these receivers running in motion and kind of wondering what the heck I got myself into, because it is football, but it was a lot different from any type of football that I had ever played. But from day one, I remember going through rookie camp, 3 days of rookie camp before all the vets come in, and just kind of getting that knowledge base of how the game works and things like that. And just kind of I remember realizing at that time how fun it was with those differences in the game compared to football. And I just kind of fell in love with it right away.
If you and Rob Bagg had lined up for a race, which you never did, who would win? And not now. You can't do it now. Who would have won back in the day?
I honestly think it would have depended on the day. Who was feeling better that day? Who had a better breakfast or lunch or whatever time of day they were doing it? I also think there's a high possibility that one of us probably would have ended up injured trying to catch the other one, because we were trying so hard. We would have pushed our bodies further than physically possible. I know I would have. If he was beating me, I probably would end up injured at some point.
That's probably why Ken Miller would never sign off on the deal and why it never happened. Another question, because I got a million for you, and I know you got to get back to work here, but what means more to the people of Bismarck, North Dakota, and our area? That you're a Hall of Fame CFL career and champion, or that you spent time with the Kansas City Chiefs and I believe played on national television? What's a bigger deal to them down there?
Well, I think if you asked me that 11 years ago before I started, they would say that I was with the Kansas City Chiefs for a little bit. But I think over the years, what I'm most proud of is kind of the knowledge base that North Dakota, Bismarck, and North Dakota as a whole kind of has of the CFL now. I'm glad that I was a part of introducing the Canadian Football League to a lot of my friends and a lot of people in this community. So I know a lot of people that still follow it a little bit and keep track of it. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to start asking people.
Or you'll find out because you're back living there now. Do you guys have anything else for Weston?
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, I know you're like one of the things that have made this show so great, and the fans seem to love in the comments is we've had guys like you on, Darian, Chris Getzlaff in this chair, Gene. What made that group for those years so special and so good? You had so many guys that stayed together, and we don't see that so much in sports. And you guys had a ton of success. What was so special about that group?
I think we just really enjoyed each other's company. That was a big factor of it. We all enjoyed working together and communicating together, and I think that was the initial start of building all that chemistry that we all had with that receiving core and with Darian. But then I think early on we went through some things together. Obviously, 2 Grey Cup losses in a row. Those types of experiences really kind of secure those bonds. And I think when you go through difficult times together, you kind of learn about each other, and we were able to go through those and ultimately kind of rebuild our team with the same core group of guys and end up winning a Grey Cup together. So that was pretty special that we were able to go through all that and kind of survive a cycle of change within the organization and still be able to have a lot of guys stick around together and find a way to win it eventually.
Last one for you, Weston. I'm quite interested in what you're doing now and what this career is. By the smile on your face, it seems like you are enjoying it. What can you tell us about this next phase of your life?
Yeah, I'm learning a lot. Like I said, I just started last Monday, so I got 1 whole week in here. But I'm working with community relations, so I get to be out in the community a lot, the community of Bismarck, working with the public schools and youth sports programs, things like that, finding where we can, maybe give a little bit of money here and there to help the kids and the healthcare programs across Bismarck and really across the Midwest as far as Sanford is concerned. Sanford's the company that I'm with. So I'm excited to kind of reconnect with some of the people in the community that are still involved here quite heavily that I got to know kind of as a younger kid growing up, going through high school here, and just kind of forming those relationships and seeing where I can help the community of Bismarck grow.
Well, we're certainly glad that you're happy with that, and I just want to thank you for all you did for us, Weston. Obviously, Hall of Fame player, but more importantly, Hall of Fame person. So keep in touch, and good luck with the new endeavor.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.